ভিডিও হবে। Assalamu alaikum, dear audience. Good evening to you. আপনারা যারা যেখানে আছেন সবাইকে শুভেচ্ছা, স্বাগতম এবং শুভ সন্ধ্যা। Welcome back to UCB Bank presents Meet the Maestro, organized by Valor of Bangladesh. আজকে আমরা আমাদের এটা সপ্তম অধ্যায় এবং একটা খুবই ইম্পর্টেন্ট একটা অধ্যায় আজকে আপনাদের সামনে আমরা তুলে ধরব। First of all, we have one expert with us, one guest with us today, যাকে আমরা খুবই ভাগ্যশীল বলবো যে আমরা আপাকে নিজেদের মাঝে পেয়েছি আজকে। Number one, as a personality, unless you meet her, you will not understand of her magnitude of her personality. But at the same time, she is a chartered accountant by profession. But most importantly, she is the first woman to qualify as a CA from the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Bangladesh. Apa is now the lead financial management specialist for the governance global practice of the World Bank. She's none other than Suraiya Zannath Apa. Suraiya Zannath Apa, welcome to our show, Meet the Maestro. Assalamu alaikum to you.
Wa alaikum assalam. Thank you for all this golden introductory words. Thank you, Albab, as always.
আরেকটু আমি আপার সম্বন্ধে বলতে চাই। She is responsible for the Bangladesh program, but also supports other countries in the South Asia for public financial management reforms and providing policy and advisory services. But আমি ওনাকে জিজ্ঞেস করব আজকে প্রথমত একটু ক্ষুদ্র করে উনি যদি ওনার ব্যক্তিগত জীবন সম্বন্ধে কিছু বলেন এবং at the same time how did she come this far, because it has not been an easy journey, I can tell you this. And she's a role model for many women leaders now. So I would like to, and we, in fact, everyone would like to listen to her background, her overall perspective in life, and a bit about herself. Apa, over to you before we go into our program. Please tell us about yourself.
Thank you, Albab, once again for these nice introductory words. I'm humbled. Let me thank you and the audience and the organizer of this knowledge platform, where I'm sure I would like to contribute my 2 cents of knowledge that I have gathered on the topic. As you said, a few words about myself. You have said it all. And what I can add that, as you said, I'm a profession, chartered accountant by profession, and obviously, I think this is purely by my luck that I hold the unique distinction of being the first women chartered accountant of the country, the female, of course, and I've been working in the developing sector all the time. Starting from BRAC to Save the Children, and then to World Bank. Obviously, development and my current position with the governance global practice is another dimension that I look at. Both development and governance remain my core focus. I've been working on South Asia region since my joining with the bank, and recently, with the global unit in Washington, D.C. The job itself is very, very quite intense, tough on many counts. I don't want to go into detail, but as a finance professional, there has always been challenges. As a women, there is challenges on the family, on social responsibilities, on many counts. There are also some areas that I'm very attached with, and that is also, there is also some challenges that as a mother, as a wife, on the personal front, as a social I won't say activist, but as a conscious citizen of the country. Obviously the social dimension part I cannot associate, I cannot just isolate from my professional work. So on all these things, uh, life is challenging, but I'm a challenge taker. I'm a not risk averse. I think every challenge offers an opportunity. Crisis also offers an opportunity, and I always try to take the best use, try to make the best use of that opportunity. And I would say that I have succeeded. So managing all aspects, both work and work life balance, is also very challenging, but not a difficult one. But I always believe, if you have the inclination, if you have a forward looking approach, if you really want to contribute with whatever gift and privilege that Almighty Allah has made me, I try to make the best use of that in every moment. So that's all I can all say. That I'm a mother of two boys, and my husband is also a profession. Chartered account is a profession. So that's all about my personal life and professional. I already said that. So that's it. Over to you. I can't hear you, Albab. You are muted.
আমি অডিয়েন্সকে লক্ষ্য করে এটাই আবার একটু অ্যাড করে দিতে চাই যে সুরাইয়া আপা হচ্ছেন আবার চার্টার্ড অ্যাকাউন্টেন্ট এবং দ্য চেয়ারম্যান অফ ইউনিলিভার বাংলাদেশ, মিস্টার মাসুদ খানের সহধর্মিনী। সো অ্যান আইডিয়াল কাপল, অফকোর্স। আপা, আমরা আজকে আমাদের প্রোগ্রামে চলে যেতে চাই এবং আপনার কাছ থেকে জানতে চাই আসলে যে জিনিসটা এখনো বাংলাদেশে সুপ্রচলিত হয়নি, এবং আমরা যেটা দেখতে পাচ্ছি যে over the recent transformation that has happened, the pandemic that has happened, এবং we have faced a rapid transformation, and it was mostly on the digital front. And I can tell you this, I can tell the audience this, that we have emerged as a digital economy, or we are emerging as a digital economy much faster than anticipated. And we are now, to be honest, can really claim ourselves to be one of the ideal nation in the global map in terms of development and as a economy, developing economic nation as a whole. But ekhane, with this perspective of digital economy, একটা জায়গায় যেটা হলো সেই সিলভার ইকোনমি যেটা আমি বলছিলাম, যেটা নিয়ে এখনো আমাদের দেশে অনেক বড় একটা অপরচুনিটি রয়ে গেছে। আমাদের দেশের যারা বৃদ্ধ, যারা এল্ডারলি, তাদের যে এজ, লাইফ এক্সপেক্টেন্সি, এটাও বাড়ছে। সো আপনার কাছ থেকে যেটা জানতে চাই আপা, in this context of digital economy, tell us about the silver economy as a whole for us to learn about, and if there is any correlation between silver economy and SDG, Sustainable Development Goal. Thank you, Appa. Over to you.
Thank you, Albab, once again. This is a topic in today's context, very relevant and timely. And again, thank you for the opportunity to speak on this one, the silver economy. Let me actually begin with a very popular saying. that's nearly going around the world, which is, the quote is, "It is always better to be young, rich, and in good health than old, poor, and sick." New research that are saying that you can grow young as you get old. People around the globe, is now confidently saying that the old folks, never had it so well in the history as they are now, and old folks are truly the future of the economy. And that brings me the title of today's topic, that silver economy. The older people will be the engine of the economy of the future. Now, what we understand of this silver economy, very simply, succinctly, it is defined as the market that is being developed around the needs of an aging population, with a focus on innovation and innovation and innovation. This is one thing that is so important, that you really can't explore, tap any opportunities without being innovative. So every economy is really focusing on innovation, new approach, new terminology, new methodology, and all this. Now, silver economy, as I said, that this is a system of production, distribution, and consumption of goods and services that aimed at actually using and increasing the purchasing potential of older and aging people, and satisfying their consumption, living, and health needs. We have to keep one thing in mind, that actually silver economy is just not a silver sector. It is rather a collection of products and services from many existing economic sectors. And what is those collection of other products and services of the economy? That includes, as you said, the information technology. And apart from your presentation, it came very prominently, the digital economy. So one aspect of that multi-sectoral approach that brings to silver economy, that is information technology, telecommunication, financial sector, housing, transport, energy, tourism, culture, infrastructure, local services, and so on. All this collectively makes actually the silver economy, where the aging people remains at the heart of the whole process. Now, a little bit of age definition. Just even a decade back, in 20s, every it was defined as, the age group actually defined, um, above the which is above 50, part of they are the part of the broader silver economy. But this has shift, in I think, start to some extent, I would say, in the last um, uh, few years. I don't have the exact year wise kind of information, when the focus has shifted from 50 to the age definition to 65 years old and above. However, what is being thought through are seniors of this group are now significant players in the economy, and their role will get even bigger in 2030s, because older people tend to have both high incomes compared to younger cohorts. Especially, I would say, this is very much relevant in OECD countries. And as you know, that the old folks are the largest earner of pensions, and their high needs, especially in the areas of medical and specialized care, they are the major consumer. So this is a bit of age definition, and this is also, considered significantly. I'm giving little bit of global practice and perhaps little bit of SDG and our Bangladesh context. I'll come towards the end of my deliberations. Let me just tell you one thing, that seniors are the what is being thought through, that the wealthiest age cohort now in the world, together with the older professionals. This shift towards the wealthier older people is not because old people are inherently richer, but because rich countries are older and poor countries are younger. Until 2030, what is being envisaged, that silver economy will gain even more absolute strength because the number of seniors is growing by 3.2% every year, compared to 0.8% of the whole population of the world. Many of the world's new seniors, fortunately, will be in Asia and less wealthy than the current average. So, a little bit, let me give you a snapshot what actually data bank are talking about. Seniors, as I said, growing rapidly in numbers. There are currently 750 million seniors in the world, and it is expected that this figure will cross 1 billion by 2030. And seniors will remain the wealthiest age group together with older professionals. 76% of them will be in the consumer class. And by 2030, they're projected to spend just 15 trillion, which is up from 8.7 trillion estimated in 2020. The data, according to the data bank, that this consumer class is expected to grow from 3.9 billion in 2020 to 5.6 billion by 2030, with each age group contributing almost uniformity to this by 41% on average. But the only group whose contribution will grow significantly faster is the senior group, whose representation in the consumer class will surge by 66% from 459 million to 76 million by 2030. And according to the data bank and many researchers, research is saying that geographically, the silver economy will shift from EU countries, OECD economies to emerging markets, especially to Asia. Today, the total year of spending power of silver consumers is relatively equally distributed across Asia, North America, and Europe. But by 2030, Asia's share will grow significantly, as its seniors are expected to spend over 5 trillion each year. However, what is being thought is very important, that Western economies will remain the top of silver economies into the next decades. They will continue, their dominance. However, Asia will have 3 countries in the top 10, and 2 of them are growing rapidly, such as China. Silver spending will triple their from 750 billion to 21 trillion, overtaking Japan, where senior spending has already spent nearly 900 billion. Back to very close to South Asia region, India will make a dramatic entrance into the group with an expected surcharge in silver spending from approximately 1 billion to almost 1 trillion. Isn't it very, very amazing when I was looking at this data? Now, let me take you a little bit of actually what the additional challenges that has really provoked around the world for the policymakers to think about silver economy and what is actually the COVID-19 has any implication, the pandemic has any implication on that, and how the policymakers, the economists, the countries in various parts of the world are repositioning themselves with these new challenges. The pandemic, what seems to be, affected, it's really exposed the pervasive, ageism that still prevails in our society. That came quite prominently. Many of you know that this year, I think on October 1st, there was an International Day of Older People, where the Older People's Association and experts recalled the systemic nature of ageism and the important toll it caused to both societies and individuals. And I just want to quote, one very important comments made by, one of the aged person in one of the forum on October 1st. He said, "The doctor spent most of the time talking to my daughter about me as if I was not there. I think he assumed people my age cannot take in information and make decisions. It feels like it is getting worse as I get older. Isn't it ageism?" The question he posed to the world community. And when I look at the World Health Organization's data that 1 in 2 people is ageist towards older people, country like Belgium, where there was a huge hue and cry because the amnesty flagged that 7 out of 10 older people face prejudice because of their age. A country like France, the rights defender reported that situation of age discrimination most often concern public transport, relations with public services, and access to goods and services such as banks and insurance. So, what is actually all these are pointing to that governments have a responsibility to protect rights of older age, combating ageism to the extent possible. What they're saying that laws and policies are important, one of the main avenues, and it should be the UN convention should adopt a charter which should reaffirms the right of older people, improve the legal protection, and stop age discrimination. The good news is older people are not considered and are no longer at the periphery of the economy. In fact, silver economy are likely to play an important role in post-COVID recovery, and all economies are repositioning themselves how actually this crisis can be further expanded to older age people, investing them to the best possible way as another boost for the economy. So, in conclusion, perhaps I'll wait for if there is any questions, I'll be happy to that. But I'd like to conclude by saying the silver economy is not a market itself; it is a cross economy. The population aging process is real. It really impacts every market and industry, such as home accommodation, transport, food industry, insurance, robotics, health and e-health, communication, internet, sports, leisure, every aspects of the economy. All over the globe, a new charter is being drawn up. Investment, investment, and investment in this to promote silver economy where the aging people remain in the driving seat. The more the potential is tapped, it will be better for the economy. And this realization should be realized irrespective of whether the economy is poor or rich, whether it is west, north, east, south part of the globe. This is on the whole silver economy. And if you link it to SDG, what SDG says? SDG is all sorts of discrimination. SDG promotes inclusive economy. SDG promotes obviously there is gender equality and health and education on other institutions building, and when you talk about from the inclusive economy perspective, this is one area where lots of economic activities investment is coming up in as I said, on the transport, food industry, and many of you are more aware that in developed economies how senior citizens are actually enjoys their help with lots of policy issues and the perks and privileges provided by the country. But this has now grown significantly, both in the context of SDG, both in the context of COVID pandemic, and also the economies which are exploring new dimensions to boost their economy into this context. In Bangladesh, the more I think we have to have little bit of awareness is needed, because we have not reached to that level where our senior citizens, their experience, their wisdom, their the pensioners or whatever wealth they have is not invested in the right direction that one would expect in silver economy perspective. I think it is a high time the policymakers take a call on these particular aspects, and I hope that with this knowledge dissemination platform that Valor of Bangladesh is organizing, we will be there slowly and gradually to make our policy level people in Bangladesh to understand the potential, the opportunities that silver economy offers, and how our aged and older people we can develop completely a separate economic package for them. I will stop here. Thank you very much again for the opportunity and for your patient hearing. Thank you.
Suraiya, thank you so much. Shedding light on this concept of silver economy and its correlation with SDG. One important fact or factor that still remains, I would say, elusive is the health insurance part. Insurance itself is very, in some cases, I have seen that it's kind of discriminating as far as age is concerned by the way insurance operates in Bangladesh. I don't know about the rest of the world. But when it comes to insurance, health insurance part, what is your take on that with correlation to silver economy?
Right. As I mentioned, I think at some point I did mention about what are the areas that the countries are investing and linking the old age, what we call the economic package. And health insurance not necessarily affects only aged population, but many countries, they have adopted an universal health insurance policy. And I think for most of the countries where silver economy is taking a shape, that has grown up more significantly, because that is where the two areas that I mentioned, where you know from the consumer perspective, the aged people need the service is health insurance, health sector, and the care, and the other service sectors. So obviously, health insurance is a major contributor to that. Regrettably, mm, you know some part, what I see, this is my kind of this based on the statistics that I have gathered so far, that health insurance is not very popularly a policy is not very popularly adopted in many part of, particularly in many Asian countries. But the more actually we realize the benefit, we understand the benefit of health insurance system, the better the silver economy, not only the silver economy will flourish, the whole country's, the SDG indicators on health and many other fronts will also be equally achieved. So, in a nutshell, just to respond very succinctly your point, that yes, this is very important, but not functioning, well. We have to conceive, we have to understand, we have to mobilize our insurance sector. This is also, again, from SDGs perspective, the inclusive economy that we are talking about, by by undertaking, a kind of policy, it also boosts the other sector, like the financial sector, and the financial
Yeah.
sector is the banking sector and the insurance sector.
Yes,
So
certainly.
exactly. So again, the potential of a booming insurance sector, how that can be benefit from silver economy, it itself requires another kind of presentation. But
Absolutely. Absolutely.
very, yeah, but very shortly, yes, it has a great contributing side of insurance sector to boost.
Thank you, Appa. Wonderfully placed, wonderfully said. Is there anything that from I'm just sort of asking that, is there going to be any kind of initiation, or is there any kind of দিক নির্দেশনা যদি আমি ভাবে বলি, from World Bank or any other sector per se, to Bangladesh, so that they adopt this health insurance policy, because they somewhat remain still kind of elusive or reluctant বলবো না, যে এখন এটা নিয়ে ভাবছে হয়তো তারা। বাট আমার মনে হয় যে হয়তো একটা দিক নির্দেশনা থাকলে হয়তো এই সেক্টরটাও গ্রো করতে পারতো, বিকজ ইন্স্যুরেন্স সেক্টর, টু বি অনেস্ট, আমি জাস্ট একটা জায়গায় পড়ছিলাম যে কিভাবে করে ডিউরিং দ্য টাইম অফ ইভেন পেন্ডেমিক, যেখানে দি এন্টায়ার ফাইন্যান্সিয়াল সেক্টর ওয়াজ কাইন্ড অফ অ্যাট হল্ট, এখানে insurance sector was a co-driver in to bring in capital, inject capital in the financial market. So it's a great way of also promoting our financial sector, if we can adopt this health sector health insurance policy, of course.
Right, I cannot agree more, Albab, on this one. When I was doing little bit of analysis before coming for this discussion, honestly speaking, I was just thinking, we have a kind of country management meeting every week, and we do exchange lots of knowledge sharing and others. And I thought, maybe it would be useful, to make a presentation within the World Bank country management team, just to expose, because some of the data that I just used here from the bank's global data bank, um, looks like, we are talking about, we are writing lots of blogs, but this the concept is actually got shelved, not really reached out to policy level people where actually it should be. But when you talk about health sector and health insurance, honestly speaking, I think there are so many other issues in the health sector that even if you ask me to prioritize, I would obviously prioritize some other areas on the service sector first, and to bring them this, so safety net bracket.
Right.
Um, Maybe I would suggest not to limit it to old age people, but it
Yes.
should be an universal um, health insurance for the people of Bangladesh. And as I said, that when I was doing little bit of research on this silver economy and these things, it really prompted me. And what I'm saying simply, that I will explore within the bank, that the way our the health sector is the biggest program across the globe, not just in Bangladesh, that the operation that we have. So when I said that there is innovation, we talked about how we can do business not as usual, bringing this part, that at this stage where Bangladesh is aspiring to be a middle income country, this is perhaps a high time that they also think about all this old age pension and old age allowance and many other allowances that from the social safety net program that government is spending. Perhaps this is a high time that they take a call on silver economy, sorry, from the silver economy perspective on the health insurance. And I will transmit that message to the concerned authority. But at this point in time, I don't think so. From the very innovative point of view, we have that in mind, because our approach remain just firefighting.
Thank you, Abha. Um, Talking about constantly, you were mentioning about innovation and also the financial sector. এই দুটাকে যদি আমি আবার একটা লেভেলে নিয়ে আসতে চাই and have them parallelly or they are being adjacent to each other. Bangladeshe এখন startup, the concept of startup is very rapid and it is taking a mammoth shape. A lot of investment is coming in. There are a lot of startups that are happening, but unfortunately, the services that startups are coming forward with are very much youth centric, or they are not, of course, a general population, but somewhat the elderly population is kind of out of the purview for a lot of reasons. এটাও একটা মেসেজ হতে পারে to the startups that this area can be a great area for them to invest on. That's number one. And number two is, as you said rightly, Appa, I was speaking to a doctor who is also an entrepreneur. He's saying that somewhat the financial institutions are reluctant to invest on health services, hospitals, যে কারণে অনেক বেগ পেতে হয় তাদেরকে একটা হসপিটাল তৈরি করার। কিন্তু বাংলাদেশে এখন যে প্রেক্ষাপট, তাতে যেটা আমরা বুঝতে পেরেছি যে স্পেশালি ফর দোজ who are in the purview of silver economy, the elderly population, তারা তো খুব localized, তাদের মোবিলিটি একটু কম, কিন্তু they are rich, They are very much active, probably in the share market. They have their own investments. They are maybe chairman of the board, or even they are, across the whole dimension. They are a rich sector. So localized hospitals and localized হেলথ সেন্টার্সের কথাও ডক্টর বলছিলেন, যে হয়তো একটা সময় আসবে যখন হয়তো বসুন্ধরা বা ধানমন্ডির একটা ব্লকের জন্য একটা হেলথ সেন্টার হয়তো কাজ করবেন, দ্যাট উইল বি আ ভেরি প্রফিটেবল এন্টিটি। সো আমার এটা বলার উদ্দেশ্য হলো যে, কথাগুলি বলার উদ্দেশ্য হলো যে, আই উইল জাস্ট ট্রাইং টু কোরিলেট silver economy, elderly population, health sector, and the startups. So yes, I think you will agree with me that the startup has a greater horizon if they take the silver economy into consideration. আপা সরি, আমি অনেক কিছু বলে ফেললাম, এখানে আপনার যদি কোনো মন্তব্য থাকে প্লিজ।
Maybe shortly, I would say that the social fabrics, the value system, the soft side of economy, that sometimes if you see that what we call ethics and values, there I think we have to do a little bit of work, because somehow, as you said, the youth, the younger population, as if they're taking over everything. They are, and is important. We have to invest in them, obviously. But where the missing link, as I see, everywhere you'd see that wherever economy or society or what we call the social fabric and everything has really flourished, is a combination of
Right.
wisdom, experience that our elderly people brings in. It takes years, to have that kind of experience, knowledge, and it has to be combined with the innovation that we get from the younger. So unless you really combine these two, and you emphasize this from the national level to down the level, then this disparity will widen over the years. And I was quoting one elderly people frustration in a world forum, where he said that the doctor, see, that is the kind of mindset. The doctor is talking to his daughter about his own health condition, because he has in mind that this is the old people, he will not understand anything. So there's a little bit of soft side of the economy, where what we call the value system, the national ethics, and that has to be actually very specifically, I think, not just for the respect, the recognition, the value of their wisdom, experience, from the policy level. I think it's very important that there is some policy undertaken in that. Otherwise, as I said, the disparity will be widened over the years. I myself have seen many institutions where they are asking that, the whole board is now managed by youngers. And we are really losing the institutional achievement, memory, and many other historic information on which the younger can build on. So that is one thing I think Valor of Bangladesh can take. This is a separate topic, but again very much relevant, because I said that this is the silver economy that we're talking at. It has many cross-cutting issues. On the health sector, it could be, Bangladesh could be a hub, taking the opportunity of the crisis, hub for medical. I don't think so is a solution that every kind of cities or some part of the city there will be health center. Nobody expects that. what they expect is your fundamental rights to access, to health. But today, you think of yourself and myself. We will not go to any government hospitals because we have a preconceived idea that government hospitals will not give me the needed support that I need if I go to a private sector. So that is where also government can do a lot, that public private partnership, as it is happening around the world. There's a lot more can do. So I think this kind of discussion, the more actually we reach out in a very segmented manner, targeting the right people to drive their own reforms, um, the more I think today's discussion, future discussion, will be successful, because you and I can go hours what needs to be done. We all acknowledge, and I cannot. I'll just stop by saying little bit of disappointment and frustration that is happening in the financial sector in Bangladesh. I'm speaking not as World Bank officials. I'm speaking as a citizen of this country. So who will blow the whistle, we don't know, but there's a lot that the financial sector can do. There's a huge potential this sector to grow. There's a huge benefit, starting from insurance to many other packages that the banking sector, the insurance sector, the financial investment sector can really offer. But again, who will actually drive, how you can bring them together and say that, look, this is XYZ that you can do to flourish the silver economy, to make some difference in the health sector by introducing insurance and so on. So I'll stop here. Maybe I just have said too much, which I didn't
No,
want.
but thank you so much. No, it was very threadbare, and this is the first time that Valor of Bangladesh has taken into consideration that we must discuss about and health sector itself is one of the core focus of Valor of Bangladesh out of the four sectors, and as a matter of fact, Valor of Bangladesh is now, from their initial concept of working sectorally, that is, working in few sectors, we have now going to focus on working on two aspects. One is the economy and one is the governance. এই দুটো জায়গায় ভেলোর অফ বাংলাদেশ কাজ করছে এখন, এবং যে ডিসকাশনগুলি হচ্ছে আমরা দেখব যে ইকোনমিক পার্সপেক্টিভে কোন কোন সেক্টরে আমরা কাজ করতে পারি এবং সেই সেক্টরগুলিকে আমরা অন্তর্ভুক্ত করব আমাদের ডিসকাশনে when we talk about economy, এবং গভর্নেন্সের ক্ষেত্রেও আমরা সেই সেক্টরগুলি দিকেও আমরা ফোকাস করব. So it's not going to be that we work on the health sector, we work on the education sector, we work on the banking sector sporadically. We will bring in the holistic Bangladesh under the purview of economic priorities and, of course, governance priorities. এইভাবে কাজ করছি আপা, and thank you for coming, joining us. In fact, it's always joyful to have you with us. আর আমরা ডেফিনেটলি প্রত্যেকটা প্রোগ্রামের থেকেই কিছু টেক অ্যাওয়ে নিই, এবং এই ক্ষেত্রে যেটা you might be our doorway for a better exploration on the topic that we have discussed today. Probably, if not, the others are thinking about this silver economy or health insurance or even the future health sector. আপনার কাছ থেকে আমরা আশা করব যে যদি মনে করেন আমরা ভেলোর অফ বাংলাদেশ কোনোভাবে এখানে সম্পৃক্ত হতে পারি, we are going to be very happy to render our services, and at the same time we will also reach out to you so that you could guide us in terms of putting our inputs as a support to the policymakers. Thank you, Appa. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks to you too. again for this opportunity, and I remain committed to support you in whatever way is possible. And health sector remains a very core focus of my work, and obviously the governance. And as I said, that I remain, committed to support your endeavor
Thank you,
uh,
Amma.
going
Thank you.
forward. Thank you. Thanks for your nicely, conducting the session. I was a little bit scared whether you will ask him any hard question. So I think I managed fairly well
You did well.
your
Absolutely.
questions. So thank you so much. I
Thank you,
look
Amma.
forward
Thank
to
you.
the session.
Salaam, Amma. Thank you. Salaam.
Thank you.
Good night.
Yes.